YouTube relating to the secret relationship between brother and sister. Also, secret relationship between brother and like, yeah, this ain't it. Hey, what up, Vice Monkey? Also, I'm not gonna lie, I just look at the first comment that I saw. I was look at the comments, but then I saw this. Blood relate. Ah, I'm gonna lie, Wise Monkey, you joined like at the worst time. As soon as I joined, I was reading this out. Yeah, let's react to this shit.
A truly horrifying case. If you want to support my channel, make sure to subscribe at Marmolejo Vanished, which really helps me out. I'd be super grateful for that.
Yeah, I got you, bro. I gave you that shit after I did the stream yesterday. I got you with that mod, man.
Gloria Marmolejo vanished without a trace from her home in El Paso, Texas. The day before, she had unexpectedly returned from a trip and discovered something in her house that she had likely suspected for a long time. Just hours later, all contact with her was lost. No calls, no messages, no clues. When her son suggested that she might have just gone away for a while, the rest of the family grew concerned.
Yeah.
Gloria was not the type to leave without telling anyone. A few days later, her car was found abandoned and her belongings had been neatly left at home. What started as a typical missing person case soon revealed a chilling truth about long-hidden relationships, a double life, and a betrayal that
How old is this dude?
deadly.
Here's the brain science
fuck
behind
you.
desires for the people.
How old are they, huh? Fuck. How old is this girl and this guy?
El Paso sits in the far west of Texas, right on the border with Mexico. It's a place known for its mix of cultures, tense border atmosphere, and higher crime rates. Despite its rough reputation, generations of families have built their lives there, holding tight to traditions, loyalty, and the Sunday gatherings that bring everyone together. It was here, on July 28, 1954, that Gloria Marmolejo was born. She grew up in a large, close-knit family of Mexican heritage, where support, family ties, and deep loyalty were passed down through the years. In the early 1970s, Gloria met Armando Marmolejo. He won her over quickly, and by October 11, 1975, they were married. Gloria poured her heart into the relationship, never allowing anyone to speak poorly about her husband, and always ready to stand by his side. They had two sons, Manny first, then David a few years later. At first,
David's the creep one, isn't he?
like a model of
David's the weirder one, huh? I would have seen it. David's gonna be the little creep.
Day-to-day life together. But after David was born,
I knew it.
Armando got a job that supposedly required constant travel.
Never mind.
He was home less and less until he seemed to disappear entirely. No one really knew what he was doing or where he was going. His business trips were shrouded in secrecy, and even relatives were left in the dark. By the time David turned about 6, their father was rarely around. Soon, it was clear he wasn't coming back. In April 1995, Gloria made
maybe
the
not
official.
So
Armando
husband
moved
then
to a different state and cut off contact with Manny and David.
Damn.
Gloria didn't let this
man,
break
no
her
father.
spirit. She accepted
Shitty
the
ass father,
situation
man.
and focused on raising her sons. According to her brother, she had a different relationship with each of them, tailored to their personalities and needs. As Manny and David grew older, they started drifting apart. Each took his own path and followed his own interests, which was a natural part of life. Manny settled into a steady life, while David often changed his priorities and direction.
No, it's gonna be David, yeah,
Gloria,
I knew it.
after years of pouring herself into family life, eventually found
I was so
herself
confused.
living alone.
I was like, where the fuck is the rest of her body at? It's a portrait.
Gloria refused to sink into loneliness. At 50, she made a big change. She left her job of 27 years, went back.
Hold on, I'm guessing she's the mother of the daughter, and she's 50. That means, yo, these kids gotta be old as hell at this point. And and I'm saying let's say she is the mother. Even if she's not, I mean, still, it's gotta be Oh hell, yo, how old is he? How
and
old
earned
is?
a degree in management.
How
She
old
became a
were
real
both of
estate
them?
agent, a job that gave her not just an income, but also a sense of purpose. It offered her flexible hours and the chance to be in control of her own time. Life eventually settled into a comfortable routine. The house where Gloria lived was tidy, well kept, and surrounded by a garden she loved to care for. She spent her time reading, enjoying the fresh air,
Joe,
and
when we, oh
seemed
my
to have
god, I
found the
know my
peace she'd
jaw's
always
gonna drop
longed
when we
for.
find out how old they were.
But everything
Because the
changed
age difference is gonna be
suddenly.
fucking crazy.
One of Gloria's neighbors, a senior man she had known for years, became seriously ill. His adult son, whose name isn't mentioned in any case files, came to take care of him. After the son's arrival, Gloria began noticing some odd things happening. She often saw someone watching her from behind the bushes that bordered their yards. The man would hide, never
What?
getting too close, but his stare felt invasive and unsettling. Once, she even saw him holding what looked like a phone or camera, clearly recording her. This wasn't a one-time incident. It happened over and over.
Oh
The
hell
sense of
no.
safety Gloria had always felt in her home was gone. She tried not to panic,
Yo, what
but
the
the tension
fuck?
kept building. Despite everything, she never went to the police. Part of her held back out of compassion for her sick neighbor. She worried that getting the
Man,
authorities
fuck that
involved
neighbor.
might make things worse.
And fuck his
Another part
kid.
of her felt it was better to wait, to watch, and avoid making any sudden moves. Instead of calling law enforcement, she called her brother, Mark. She calmly explained what was going on, admitted how worried she was, and asked him to stay in touch in case the situation escalated. She didn't want to make a fuss, but she felt it was important for him to know. After that call, the idea of moving started to creep into her mind more often. Her sons had long since moved out. Manny was living in Phoenix, and David had also relocated. Life in El
Where did David
Paso,
move?
which had always felt stable and familiar, was starting
Where
to feel
did
shaky.
David go, huh?
But moving would mean leaving behind the home, where she'd rebuilt her
Man,
life
fuck
after
that
her
house.
divorce,
Okay,
where
my
she'd
bad.
raised her sons and found her own path
The
again.
man raised her
It wasn't
sons,
just
yeah.
a
Well,
place,
one of her
it was a
sons
part
was a
of her story.
fucking creep.
Leaving felt like letting go of the past. Staying meant living with constant unease.
What the fuck is
These
this?
thoughts of leaving turned into a quiet certainty over time, a sign that big changes were on the horizon. To really understand what happened, we need to go back to when David, Gloria's younger son, was just starting to grow up, because he would eventually become a central figure in everything that followed.
I
From
knew,
an
of
early
course,
age,
I knew it was David,
was
man. I could just
noticeably
tell.
different from his peers, not because he was studious or well-behaved,
No,
but
cause
because
fucking
he had a
creep.
knack for getting into trouble. School never interested him. He didn't like chores, and he pushed back whenever anyone tried to guide him. Unlike Manny, who loved sports and was always eager to learn, David took a different path. Carefree, ignoring school rules, and always drawn to girls. He was restless, never sticking with one thing for long. His interests were shallow and switched constantly. It became clear that what really mattered to him was his looks, his popularity, and how much attention he got from girls.
Man, look at this loser over
Relatives
here.
said that even as a teen, he liked being the center of attention.
Of course he
knew how to
was. You
use
wanna
his
see him
good
like
looks,
that?
confidence, and charm.
Shit, what game you
I
playing?
saw the
Fuck!
His classmates were just figuring out dating. David acted like he had it all figured out and nothing to worry about. He
GTA
believed he
Online.
deserved attention, and that girls were just part of his world. That sense of entitlement and inflated
I haven't played
ego
that shit in a
became
minute.
a big part of who he was. At 16, he started seeing Laura Sales.
Then he
She
cheated
was,
on her.
for all intents and purposes, his official girlfriend.
Then he cheated
But
on
that
her.
didn't stop him from spending time
There
with
it
others.
is.
To family
Come
and
on, you
friends,
just said he was.
Laura was the one he presented as his close partner. But behind the scenes, he was playing a double game. Laura was 2 years younger than him, and when she was just 15, she got pregnant. That pregnancy turned everything upside down. Out of the blue,
You know, it's a
David
sister,
decided
not
it was
okay.
time
Whoa.
to man up. He dropped out of school, got a job, and asked Laura to marry him. This move surprised everyone,
Huh?
Gloria included. Despite her shock, she chose to stand by David, and didn't turn her back
Yo,
on
my
him during
TikTok
this
popping off a
challenging
bit.
time.
Which video?
She welcomed Laura like her own family and immediately stepped up to help with the new baby. After their
Let me
first son was
check.
born, the young couple had 3 more.
Damn.
Gloria was there every step of the way, raising her grandkids, keeping the house running,
Between brother and wait, hold on. Maybe it wasn't Dave. Maybe it was one of his kids.
helping out financially. The young family lived with her, and Gloria once again became the heart of the home. It was as if she was reliving motherhood, this time as a grandmother, and she poured herself into it with the same dedication. Despite his family's support, David never managed to find his footing. He jumped from job to job, never sticking around long and showing little interest in moving up in any profession. At one point, he was offered a position with a construction company in Phoenix, Arizona. The job sounded promising, better pay, and a chance to reconnect with his older brother, Manny,
Most
who was
viewed
already
edits I
living
put
there.
barely any
Another
effort
unexpected
into.
factor was that their father, Armando, had reached out after years of silence, and it turned out he was also living in Phoenix. The decision to move came quickly. Laura and their kids went with him.
His father.
For David, this was an opportunity to start fresh.
I don't know. It was
to get his
no.
finances on track, rebuild
The dad
his
had a new
bond with
kid.
Manny, and
Okay,
maybe
I said
even
new
reconnect
kid.
with
That got
Armando, something he had never imagined possible
gonna
before.
go pregnant.
Once he was in Arizona, David was surrounded by family again, even if
Yo, I
things
said
had
new
changed.
kid. Like you could just
Armando
fucking
was
go
now
to a
living
store and
with a
buy
woman
them.
and raising 2 younger kids, Jonathan and Maria. Maria was 11 at the time. From the start, she looked up to her older brothers, especially David. To her, he seemed grown up, confident.
I'll go back. Wait, what?
He was in Arizona, David was surrounded by family again, even if things had changed. Armando was now living with a woman and raising 2 younger kids.
Yeah, okay, so we had 2 keratin moves. Okay, bet.
And Maria. Maria was 11 at the time.
Ooh. She's what?
From the start, she looked up to her older brothers, especially David. To her, he seemed grown up, a heroic figure she wanted to be close to. She spent a lot of time at their house, playing with her nephews, helping out. Laura, busy taking care of 4 kids, didn't mind. Any help was welcome. The bonds within the family seemed to be growing stronger. But during this time, beneath the surface of normal life, troubling signs were beginning to appear. Maria was becoming more and more involved in David's daily life, and no one suspected just how damaging that closeness
Yo,
could
they're gonna
become.
kill his wife.
Maria, David's younger half-sister, quickly became a fixture in his life. To those around them, there was nothing to worry about. It looked like a typical family dynamic, shared outings, hanging out at home. But as Maria got older, Laura began to notice some unsettling changes in how David acted around her. Outwardly, everything seemed fine, but Laura couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. The way they talked to each other, the little gestures, the closeness, it all felt too much. On the surface, it could be explained away as family affection, but deep down, Laura couldn't ignore her growing discomfort.
No.
Still, she didn't jump to conclusions. Maria was still a teen, and Laura wondered if her fears were just stress and exhaustion playing tricks on her. When David was offered a job in Hawaii, he moved there alone. Not long after, it became clear he'd started a new relationship. The woman's name was Adrienne, and soon enough, she was expecting a baby. Even though he hadn't officially ended things with Laura, David wasted no time.
Yo, motherfucker, put a condom on, cause your ass clearly can't pull out. Goddamn, you guys don't need no more kids, bruh.
With his new partner, Gloria was heartbroken when she heard. She had held on to hope that David would come back to Laura and make things work for the sake of the kids, but David ignored all of her pleas. Meanwhile, Maria kept in close contact with David. Unlike other relatives who had started to pull away, she kept reaching out, and their connection stayed strong even though he was far away. When Maria was about 15 or 16, David invited her to Hawaii for summer vacation. No one saw it as anything unusual. She was just going to spend time with her brother, his partner, and their newborn. At first, it looked like a harmless family trip, but after a few weeks, the
15?
mood began to shift. Adrienne started noticing things she couldn't ignore. The way they looked at each other, how they talked, little things that just didn't feel right. At first, it was just a nagging feeling, but over time, that feeling turned into real suspicion.
15?
One day,
Huh?
Adrienne walked in on them in the bedroom. Shaken by what she had seen, Adrienne
Oh! She's 15! Oh my! Yo, how old is this? Oh my god, how old is he?
immediately called Gloria. For Gloria, this was a devastating blow. The thought that there could be something inappropriate between her son and his young half-sister left her in complete shock. She insisted that it all had to stop immediately.
Do you know what?
Yeah, no
cabbage
fucking
is in
shit.
part? Cabbage is a cruciferous vegetable that resembles lettuce.
Maria was sent back home to Texas right away. The incident never became public and didn't lead to any official consequences.
Huh?
It marked a turning point within the family.
What?
Gloria could no longer trust her son.
No, I would
Outwardly,
fucking hope
She
not.
tried to keep up appearances, but deep down she knew. This wasn't just a mistake. It was a direct threat. Trust was shattered. David acted like nothing had happened. The family ties that had once seemed so strong began to unravel quickly. After Adrienne told Gloria what had happened with Maria, there was a serious confrontation between mother and son. Gloria didn't hold back. She condemned his behavior directly, demanded he cut off all contact with his half-sister,
Yeah,
and made it
he
clear
should.
she wouldn't tolerate anything like this again. David denied everything. He insisted there was no relationship and accused everyone of exaggeration and hostility.
Chill.
But Gloria didn't believe him. Her life experience, her careful nature, and that unshakable instinct
I'm
only
not
a
gonna
mother
lie.
has told her
Leaving the family
that
just
this was
runs
far more
bullshit
serious
in the
than
family.
David was willing to
His
admit.
father didn't know he's doing it.
Shortly after Maria returned to Texas, another shock hit the family. David was in a terrible motorcycle accident
shit.
on one of Hawaii's winding roads. He lost control and ended up losing one of his legs in the crash.
Damn!
When Gloria heard about it, despite all the conflicts
Good.
they'd had,
What?
she
I
flew
didn't say
to
that.
Hawaii
Nah, you know what I did.
in
Good.
that
Nah,
moment,
nah. I
every
didn't say that. I
disagreement
didn't say that.
took a back seat. Her son needed help, and she responded the way any mother would. During David's entire recovery,
Damn.
Gloria was there for him. She stayed by his side in the hospital, helped him get used to life with his new physical limitations, and was his constant support. In conversations with others, David even admitted that his mother never left his side, always holding his hand, encouraging him and doing whatever she could
He
to
just
make
let
sure
this
he
ass
felt whole
deal
despite
with
the
himself.
loss.
This ass
After a
don't
long
serve out.
rehabilitation, Gloria suggested he come back with her to El Paso. David agreed. With his relationship with Adrienne completely over and barely any contact with his sons, going back to his mother seemed like the only choice he had left. But Gloria laid down one firm condition: no contact whatsoever with Maria. If he agreed, she promised to keep everything that had happened a secret and give him a chance to start over. David said yes. They returned to Texas. Gloria took up her usual routines, helping her son adjust to his new
Something tells me that
reality,
he's
but she was
not
always
done
watchful.
with her yet. That
On
just
the
sounded
surface,
weird.
things looked
Look at this
stable.
fucking creep.
David seemed
Yeah, look at
calm.
this. Yo, look at this fucking loser, man. You can't even fucking look straight. That lazy ass eye. God damn, what the fuck is you looking at, bitch? So what the fuck do they do that leads to? Or unless they're talking about them, you know.
He helped around the house, and he didn't raise any red flags. For
Until-
Gloria, who had been through so much turmoil, it finally felt like she was back in control. The neighbor, who had watched her from the bushes, still lived next door,
What?
and his very presence made her uneasy. But now that David was home, she felt safer. Even
What the
with
fuck is some
tension
motherfucker gonna
between
do
them,
with
just
one who has
having a
one
man in
leg?
the house again made her feel less vulnerable.
Well,
It
this
felt
creep
like
didn't
the
do
worst
anything.
was behind her, But the worry never really went away.
The worst
Deep down,
was
she
yet to
sensed
come.
that the situation with Maria might not be over. Outwardly, everything looked calm. But Gloria couldn't ignore the feeling that there was still a threat lurking underneath. She kept her eyes open, analyzing every interaction, never fully convinced that her son had truly changed. When David's condition finally stabilized and he was able to take care of himself, Gloria decided to take a short trip. Manny, her older son, had been inviting her to visit him in Phoenix for a long time, and now that the younger son seemed
I just know
settled,
Phoenix. I mean,
she agreed.
Manny is a great guy,
She
man.
asked David to look after the house. On the surface, everything seemed fine. He stayed in El Paso, kept up with the housework, and acted like he was following her instructions. During her stay in Arizona, Gloria's sense of unease only grew stronger. The doubts she had tried to push away became more persistent. She shared her concerns with her brother Mark and asked him to swing by David's place, just to make sure everything was okay and that Maria wasn't showing up there. Mark promised he would, but from the way things felt, Gloria suspected he hadn't done much to follow through.
Yo, this isn't real. Am I bugging? This is like a... Yeah, it's not. I don't know. It looks real, but it doesn't though. I'm bugging.
Until she finally made a sudden decision to come home unannounced. What she found when she got back shocked her. The house, which had always been tidy and neat, was a mess.
God damn.
Dirty, with things scattered everywhere. What really set her on edge was the locked door to her own bedroom. There was a brand new lock on it, something she had never seen before.
What the fuck?
Gloria immediately called David, demanding to know what was going on. He told her he was at the movies and would be home soon. She waited. When David finally showed up, a heated argument broke out between them. Gloria accused him of being disrespectful, of breaking his promises, and of letting the house fall into such a state. David kept trying to defend himself, saying he'd help her pack her things for a trip back to Phoenix. After that, he claimed,
W.
he went back to the movies.
Taiwan's divorce rate for newly married couples reached a 10-year high according to official figures.
In Calgary.
Fuck otter.
Later that evening, on July 25th, Manny started to get worried. He hadn't heard from his mother since she left his place that morning. He called and texted, but got no response. Later on, he tried to reach David. At first, David didn't answer, but closer to midnight, he finally called back. He told Manny that Gloria had shown up, that they'd had an argument. He'd helped her pack, and she'd probably gone back to Phoenix. But as the night turned into morning, there was still no sign of Gloria.
Joe, there's no way this dude
contacted any of the other
killed
relatives.
his mother, right?
Her phone was off, and there were no messages.
Joe, there's no way.
By the next day, July 26th, it was obvious something was very wrong.
There's no way.
David's tone was distant and uncooperative, repeating over and over that he didn't know anything. His indifference was unsettling, so unlike him, and Manny was more convinced than ever that something wasn't right. By July 27th, Gloria had been missing for 2 days. Manny reached out to everyone he could think of. Family, friends, neighbors. No one had seen her. It was like she had vanished without a trace. That's when he decided to call the police.
Come on,
But
do a
the
welfare
officers
check.
told him the report had to come from the last person to see her, David. Other family members,
Okay,
including
but can he
Gloria's
ask for a
mother
welfare
and her
check?
brother Conrad, soon arrived
Welfare
at the
check. Oh
house.
my god.
David met them at the door, calm and almost detached. It took a lot of persuading, but he finally agreed to go to the police and file a missing person report. On July 28th, the day Gloria was supposed to be celebrating her 55th birthday, Manny and his wife arrived in El Paso. The moment Manny walked into the house, he knew something was off. Gloria's suitcase was still in the corner, untouched, and her makeup bag hadn't even been opened.
Sure, this dude, oh
Everything
my
pointed to
god, he
one thing.
dead, killed.
She hadn't gone anywhere. She had disappeared suddenly, without even packing or letting anyone know. David's story about helping her pack didn't add up. Her things were still there, and his behavior was strange, calm, detached, not asking questions or showing any concern. Manny started pressing him for details about the last time he'd seen their mother. David showed him some texts on his phone where Gloria supposedly asked him to unlock the door for her. Then, out of nowhere, he added a new twist to his story. After he'd left the house, he said he went to a party at a woman's house named Catherine Thompson, and later that night he went to a club with another woman. According to him, he didn't get back until around 3 in the morning. During a conversation with his brother about their mother, David suddenly said something that sounded especially unsettling. "I'm worried they might find traces of my DNA on her. After all, I hugged and kissed her." Those words didn't make sense at the time. Gloria was officially listed as missing, and no one else had even hinted
Yo,
at the
what is he, Joe? I'm
possibility
not gonna
of
lie, David,
something more
fuck
tragic.
you.
The next day, July 29th, local detectives called in all the family members for questioning. David repeated his story again, but this time, he changed some of the details. He no longer mentioned going to the movies, instead saying he had spent the entire evening at Catherine Thompson's party. Catherine confirmed that he'd been there, but she said he'd arrived sometime between 7 and 8 p.m., stayed until midnight, and had seemed tense. She didn't mention anything about him going to a club with another woman. That same day, there was troubling news. Gloria's car had been found abandoned near an elementary school in El Paso.
Oh my
Her
God.
personal belongings, her purse, keys, and phone were still inside, but there was no sign of Gloria. This shifted the case from a missing person to a possible crime. The department that investigates violent crimes took over. Officers began going door to door. Several neighbors said that on the morning of July 26, the day after Gloria was last seen, they'd seen her car pulling out of the garage. One witness, a woman named Juliana, was sure she'd seen Gloria behind the wheel. But another neighbor, Rafael Vargas, told a very different story.
Okay, what do you
said
tell?
he'd
W.
seen a
Raphael.
young, light-skinned woman with short blonde hair driving the car. What's more, he noticed what looked like a man's silhouette in the back seat. This was the first concrete sign that someone other than Gloria had used her
Oh
car
my
after
God.
she vanished.
Yo, they really did.
The police
Yo,
decided
oh
to
my
search the
God.
house. In the garage, they found blood stains. Most of the blood was concentrated on the door of a built-in cabinet. There
Yo,
wasn't a lot of blood.
this dude really killed his own mother to fuck his, what, 15, 16-year-old half-sister? Like, what is, yo, what goes to people's heads sometimes, bro? Like, this dude killed his mother to fucking... Yo, this dude killed his mother. Because she wasn't happy with him fucking his 15, 16-year-old half-sister. Like, oh, like, what? Yo, oh my God, I almost ended my stream.
Blood, but it looked fresh. At that point, the house was officially treated as a possible crime scene. Given this discovery, detectives ramped up their questioning of David. His stories didn't match up even on basic facts. He was confused about the timeline, kept switching up the order of events, and added new details each time he talked. All the while, he acted strangely calm, never asking any questions or seeming concerned about the investigation. That alone raised red flags. The police sent the blood samples for analysis and began collecting DNA from family members. Manny, watching his brother's behavior, couldn't stop thinking about Maria. The way she and David had always been close made him deeply uneasy.
There's no
He urged the
way.
police to consider Maria's possible involvement, especially in light of what Adrienne had said in the past. Investigators started combing through cell phone data. What they found turned out to be crucial.
Oh, gosh.
Records showed that between 1:30 and 1:40,
I'm too busy crushing goals. With that,
on the night of July 25th to 26th, David's phone had made an outgoing call. The location data put him just under 4 miles away from where Gloria's body was eventually found. On top of that, there were multiple calls between David and Maria's phones between 5:30 and 6 a.m. that same morning, both incoming and outgoing. All of these inconsistencies, the witness accounts, the shifting stories, and the digital evidence painted a picture. Gloria's disappearance was no accident, and and it wasn't something she did on her
Yo,
own.
he
The
dead.
investigation had clearly become a criminal case, and the
Yo, this
focus
is fucking
turned
crazy.
squarely to David and Maria. They were the last people known to have seen Gloria alive. On July 31st, a woman walking her dog found Gloria's body in a deserted area near Santa Teresa
Yo,
Elementary School.
oh my
The
god.
body was already decomposing. Her head was wrapped in 2 layers, first in plastic, then in a paper bag. Her left leg and arms were also wrapped in plastic. Investigators immediately noticed that whoever did this had tried to leave no biological evidence behind. This pointed to intent, not some spur-of-the-moment crime. The medical examiner confirmed that Gloria died from suffocation. Her larynx
Jeez.
was broken, which showed
Yo, this
that
dude
significant
really
physical
killed his
force had been
own
used,
mom.
and that the person responsible
To
had
have
full control over the situation.
Sexual
This wasn't an act of impulse.
intercourse
It was cold-blooded aggression.
with an
Meanwhile,
underage
lab
minor.
results started
Not
coming
only
in.
that, his
The blood
sister.
samples found in Gloria's garage belonged to Maria. That put her at the center of the investigation.
Sorry, I got
Gloria's
distracted.
brother
What did he just say?
results, responsible, had full control over the situation. This wasn't an act of impulse. It was cold-blooded
Yo, this
aggression.
dude really killed his own mother to keep having sex with his own sister. Not only that, she was a fucking minor.
Meanwhile, lab results started coming in. The blood samples found in Gloria's garage belonged to Maria. That put her at the center of the investigation. Gloria's brother, Mark, told detectives that just before she disappeared, Gloria had confided in him. She suspected David and Maria had an inappropriate relationship, and she was absolutely against it. Maria and David were called in for questioning. They claimed they had spent the night of July 25th to 26th together. But cell phone data told a different story. David's phone had made a call at 1:37 a.m. from just under 4 miles away from where Gloria's body was later found. There were also calls between him and Maria's phones at 5:30 and 6 a.m. that morning. If they'd been together the whole night, why would they be calling each other? Under increasing pressure from investigators, Maria started to contradict herself. Finally, she was offered a deal, full immunity if she would tell the complete truth about what had happened.
Whoa, whoa,
She
whoa, whoa, whoa,
agreed.
whoa, 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 whoa,
Maria's-
whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't give a fuck if she's underage. Whoa. She gets full immunity?
Said that Gloria had come home unexpectedly and found her there. An argument broke out between Gloria and her
Nah, they
son.
must have
Gloria
lied to her just so
demanded
you
that
told the truth,
Maria
right? They
leave
could do that, right?
immediately and never come back. At that point, according to Maria, David lost control and used force, leading to Gloria's tragic death. Afterward,
Jeez.
David called Maria to help him cover it up. Together, they cleaned up anything that might draw attention.
Why would you
and
help
moved Gloria's
him?
body into her
Yo,
car,
what am I hearing, bro?
driving to the city. Maria also admitted that the blood in the garage was hers. It had come from a fight she'd had with David a few days earlier. When they buried Gloria, she said, she stood nearby. Her confession became the turning point in the investigation. On September 4th, 2009, David was arrested. He was charged with causing severe harm, concealing the aftermath, and destroying evidence.
Shit, go ahead
The
and charge
trial
yourself with
began in
fucking
October 2010.
Ray. I
Maria.
don't think I can say it, but Ray. Charge him with that. Charge him with sexual assault. Shit. Charge him with everything at this point. He fucking deserves it.
Who had been granted immunity, testified against David. She spoke about how their relationship started when she was 14 and David was 29.
Oh, he was. Oh my god. What am I hearing? Oh my god. Yo. Yo, what did I just hear? Yo. Why'd you say low? Yo, this dude was 15 when she was born, bro. like, yo, that's a 50. Oh, fuck, I almost fell. Yo, that is insane.
One of the most shocking revelations was that she'd had a baby by David, a child.
Oh my god, this just keeps getting worse and worse. Yo, it can't get any worse than this.
Who was later given up for adoption. That detail shook even those who already knew about their relationship. Most of the family didn't have the full picture. Some stayed quiet, others never suspected a thing. Investigators presented additional evidence, but no DNA from David was found on Gloria's body. The defense argued that the case was based on circumstantial evidence. David maintained a calm and controlled demeanor in court, sometimes even tearing up, but he kept insisting he was innocent.
Man, get the fuck out of here.
Didn't end with a clear verdict. The jury couldn't come to a unanimous decision. It was decided to move the proceedings to San Antonio to avoid any local bias. The second trial, held in 2011, ended with a guilty verdict. 54 years in prison. That number matched Gloria's age at the time of her passing.
2054 is shit. I mean, he's probably not gonna be alive when he gets out, but actually he might be. But man, it's the best death penalty, man.
But the story
what?
Didn't stop there. In
Whoa,
2017,
hold on. What do you mean it didn't stop there?
David faced 29 more charges in Arizona for incidents of assault, abduction, and aggression that had taken place back in 2005 and 2006. To avoid a life sentence, he reached a deal with prosecutors. He admitted guilt on 6 charges, and the rest were dropped. He was given additional time behind bars, but kept the possibility of parole starting in 2036.
God damn! 2036? And parole? You get, man, fuck that. Man, don't give this dude no fucking deal.
Gloria dedicated her life to raising her sons, and did everything she could to pull David back from the edge.
It's a deadly betrayal. Hold on now. Oh no. Okay, my bad. Come on, that's a good video. Weird fucking dude. That's a weird little dude right there, man. That is one weird little dude. Shit, the same goes for her. I mean, I get it. She was, I don't know. Yeah, just